Everyone, so far we have thought about length and height, and now we're going to think about weight. So, who has heard of this word before? What does it mean? So usually when we refer to weight, we are thinking about how heavy something is or how light something is. And we measure that using different forms of standard units of measure. But today we are just going to be thinking about those two words, heavy and light, or heavier and lighter. What do we mean though if we say something is light? How would it feel? Would you be able to pick it up easily? Would you have to ask your grown-up to help you? Would it hurt your back picking it up if it's light? What do you think? Yeah, light means it's quite easy to pick up, isn't it? It would be like picking up a feather if it's light. It doesn't require a lot of effort. You could maybe use one hand and you wouldn't need any help. If something is heavy, your back would probably hurt. You'd have to use two arms. You might need to ask a grown-up to help you. It might have to be transported to you. So that is heavy. So things can be light and things can be heavy. So we're going to think about those two words, lighter and heavier, to complete the STEM sentences. The feather is than the elephant. The elephant is than the feather. Pause the video and discuss with your grown-up which two of the comparing words you would use and where would they need to go. The feather is than the elephant. The elephant is than the feather. Which word do you need and where? Done for doing some great discussions. So the word you would need for the first sentence is the feather is lighter than the elephant. It is not as heavy. You'd be able to pick up that feather. Whereas the elephant is heavier than the feather. You definitely would not be able to pick up an elephant with one hand like you would with a feather. Okay, what about these two objects? The rock is than the pencil, and the pencil is than the rock. Which word do you need and where? Discuss it with your grown-up and then press play. So the rock would be heavier. You might need to pick up that rock with two hands. It looks like a big rock, doesn't it? Whereas the pencil is much lighter. You can use your pencil to do your writing. You don't have to think about picking your pencil up with two hands to try and do your writing. So the rock would be heavier than the pencil and the pencil would be lighter than the rock. What about these two objects then? I have got a delicious looking chocolate bar and a wooden table. The something is something than the something. I'm going to challenge you to write this down. So you need to fill in the three missing parts for each sentence. The table is something than the Twix. The Twix is something than the table. Pause the video, fill that one in, my lovelies, and then we can compare. Good job, guys. So you should have put either way around, it doesn't matter. I'm going to start with table. The table is heavier than the Twix, and the Twix is lighter than the table. It would be a lot easier to pick up and eat that delicious Twix than to try and pick up the table. So the table would be heavier. Okay, this time we have done it on a balance, a scale. So when the scale is like so, that means that they are the same weight because they are staying upright, so they must be the same weight. Just like when you're on a seesaw at the park, if you are slightly heavier than your friend, then you will go down. Whereas if you're the same weight, you will balance. And if you are lighter, you'll be up in the air because the heavier person is down below. So, just like a seesaw then, which animal must be heavier? The elephant or the snake? Yes, it would be the elephant, wouldn't it? So I'm going to circle the elephant because he is bigger, because the seesaw, the scale is going down because the elephant is heavier. So the snake is up here by my head. Okay. This time, let's cover that up so you don't get confused. Which is lighter? the frog or the cow? Which is lighter? The frog, brilliant, because the cow has pushed the scales down because he is that bit heavier on his seesaw, and the frog is still at the top because he is lighter. Maybe if we added another frog, it might go to the same weight. You don't know, do you? Okay, so we're going to do a test now. I'm going to leave this on the screen for you, and I want you to grab these items. If you don't have a banana and it's one of these items, that doesn't matter. You can just switch it up to something similar. So I've said if you could find a banana, a cushion, a bowl, a pencil, a remote, and an apple, and then you are going to test to see how the sentence should sound. So for example, I've got in front of me a cushion and a remote. Let me just grab both. A cushion and a remote. So when holding these, I'm going to feel them, and I feel the remote is slightly heavier than the cushion. So I would then say to my grown-up, or write it down, I would say the cushion is lighter than the remote. And then if I did it the other way around, I would say the remote is heavier than the cushion. So before we begin today's activity, I'd like you to pause the video, grab the other things I've suggested, and try and put them into the sentences. I wonder, will the pencil be heavier than the bowl? Will the apple be heavier than the cushion? Have a little think with your grown-up and try and verbally, or write it down if you want the challenge, say these STEM sentences, remembering either you're heavier or lighter. Okay, brilliant guys. I hope you enjoyed doing that little comparison to get your brains in gear, ready for the activity today. So the main activity is this sheet here. So what you need to do is, it first says circle the object that is heavier. So out of the two objects, plane or truck, which do you think would be heavier? Then out of a man and a bird, which do you think would be heavier? Out a calendar and a paperclip, which do you think would be heavier? And a notebook and a tree. So you've just got to circle the one that you think. Then you've got to circle the thing that you think would be lighter. And then finally down here, reading the seesaw again, the scales, which is heaviest and which is lightest. And then you can write the word there. There is then also a really lovely video by Blippi, which is 11 minutes long. It's just called Blippi Learns About Weight, Heavier or Lighter. And as it goes along, he weighs, like you can see here, an apple and an orange. And then I'd like you to, if you want to, you don't have to, guess which will be heavier or lighter, and then see if you are correct. I just thought it was a nice, different way to continue your learning today. So your main activity is the sheet, and then if you'd like to, you can also watch Blippi and predict if it's going to be lighter or heavier. I hope you've enjoyed our first input on Weight Year 1, and as always, me and Miss Evans are so proud of you and can't wait to see what you get up to. Bye!